Good morning and welcome once again to our Thursday show as we start a new year for our business community support discussions. As always, we're broadcasting live on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page and also on the Alpha Media YouTube channel. This is an interactive show, so if you have questions or comments, feel free to make those comments or questions right there on the comment thread, and we'll be doing our best to answer those live as they come through. But of course, it's emblazoned for all eternity right there on the social media. So feel free to share and comment even after the show, and we'll be keeping track of those as well. I want to welcome back to the show for the new year the folks that help make this happen all the time. Of course, Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Market Plus Digital. Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year. We got a full day today, Jed. So Carol Lilly with Main Street Fort Dodge, Chad Schaefer with the City of Fort Dodge, and Kimberly with the Small Business Development has PPP news hot off the press. So
yeah, so we're looking forward to all that information. And of course, Chris Patrick with our local Main Street Fort Dodge joining us as well as a regular contributor. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Yes, it's a great program today. I'm excited to hear all of the great things that are going on, both at a state level and here in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, I'm very excited about all the things that we've got going on. And Cheryl, you already mentioned our guests today, or at least some of our guest speakers today. We've got Carol Lilly and Chad Schaefer, and you know what? We're going to bring them both on right now and just kind of talk about some of the things that are going on across our business community in Fort Dodge and around the area. So good morning to you both.
You may want to introduce Kimberly too. I'm sorry.
Oh, I missed her. And there, of course,
Kimberly. Kimberly. Hi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Kimberly with Iowa's SBDC joining us as well. And she's got tons of great information that we're going to be going over as well. So it's good to have our panel full and back in full swing this year.
Cool.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we've got coming up. And one of those, Main Street Fort Dodge. And we just want to talk about kind of, Main Street, Iowa, the bigger umbrella group as a part of this. And Carol, there's kind of a lot going on. I imagine just like on the local level, the state level is very busy as well.
Yeah, when Chris reached out and asked for me to come and share a little bit about what was going on and how last year we had a lot of challenges, and I know we're all ready to turn the page and move on to 2021. And but despite the challenges, there were a lot of positive outcomes that happened last year, and I'm happy to share some of those with you today. First of all, just want to compliment. There's a lot of puzzles to put together, puzzle pieces to put together. There's all year, it was just a struggle. People were reacting and trying to be proactive as they could to get through those challenging times. And I think it turned out to be a pretty good year overall under the circumstances. So, first of all, Fort Dodge, I'd like to compliment you. Some of the things that stood out to us at the state level were just the things that you did for the business support right away. You kept going with the Open for Business grant project, and we're down in the finalist group of those, and that was quite an accomplishment. The interactive map, that was something that we shared across the state as a great example of ways to support your local businesses. These programs are a wonderful way to share what's going on and keep communicating with your business community. So those are some great things, the changes that you made to parking to help your businesses, to allow that free time. All those little things add up and really make an impact for the local businesses. So I compliment you on those accomplishments.
Yeah, that was a big thing. And I think it was just one of those pieces that anything that our local community can do to just get rid of any of the hindrances are a good thing. Chad, since we've got you, can you talk a little bit about getting rid of those parking fees and where that idea came from?
Yeah, it's just over time, it's been a conversation that the city's been having with downtown folks for so many years, and it's just something that we thought is appropriate. During this pandemic time to eliminate those fees for parking, whether it be on street or in the parking lots, and try to encourage people to come downtown and utilize those businesses and visit those businesses and do it economically and and hopefully they come down and do some shopping, spend some money, and then hopefully they return, in the future for more trips.
Very good. So you've got some other things that you wanted to talk about, Carol, some construction things going on as well.
Yeah, again, Fort Dodge just kept things moving. Chris and I was in regular communication with us and sharing the updates. And one of the things that we really enjoyed seeing was all of the construction projects that were happening and how the facade projects kept moving along. I know you got your camera project that kept moving, and also started that long range planning for Streetscape. I realize you're in the beginning stages of that, but really took advantage of some of the time that was now available with the fewer events and some of those activities that weren't happening. I think spending that time doing some of these long range things and focusing on maybe the speed and pace to get some of these projects done really helped and again stood out to us at the state as really good accomplishments.
So Chris, I'd like for you to talk about that, if you would, for just a moment, because we had a really good excuse last year to pull back and do nothing, and you guys didn't do that.
Well, I think we're always looking ahead. We're trying to be proactive, and we're able to do that because we have great partners, Chad and the rest of the staff at the city and the city council. We have a really good relationship with them. It's not just the 2 reports we do every year, but I'm talking to them all of the time. And our board is really an engaged board. That's part of the Main Street concept, to have a working board. So each of those board members, we have 12 of them, they really jump in and find those projects that their heart is at. And I think you can see it by the amount of things that we were able to accomplish. We're excited, but again, it's our partners, just like this business support session. It's because of Spin Market and Alpha Media that this is possible every week. So we can't take all of the credit, even though, we always want to. We definitely won't do that. And if it wasn't for our volunteers, our program would not exist. So,
yeah. Well, it is great to see all of the things that are still going on, and Carol brought it up, but man, we were in the middle of a pandemic, but everything was moving on downtown and things were happening, and it was great. We even had a great holiday season as we looked downtown, some of the neat things as well. So yeah, so some events that were going on as well then.
Yeah, one of the things we noticed too, and Chris was one of the first people early on, and what stood out to us was in one of the conversations we were talking about events, and everybody was wondering, in March, April, what's going to happen? What are we going to do with events? We can't get together. And that Easter egg scramble, that kind of scavenger hunt thing that you did, was a leader. That was one of the lead things that was an event that was adapted quickly and still was able to engage the community and keep the community engaged in really try and capitalize on the social aspect of being part of a greater community. And a lot of other communities took that example and ran with it and adapted it. So again, it was just kind of one of those things that you were able to overcome and find some positive and keep things moving and really provide that sense of community for the citizens of Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
And we really had a lot of great participation in that too, Carol. And so this year, we're planning our Chicks Night Out, which is our regular event, but we're combining it with that Easter egg scramble we did last year. So the person who actually finds all the clues first is going to get this really great gift basket. So still trying to keep some of those events we did last year, even though, we don't really know what's going to happen in March and April. Got our fingers crossed, but again, thinking ahead and following Main Street's guidance too. So,
yeah. So a lot of this looks like it probably translates all the way across Iowa, Carol.
Yeah, it really does. And I'll just touch quickly on a few things that have happened across the state because, Main Street approach is kind of that 4-point economic vitality, promotion, design, organization pieces. They all come together. I think one of the things that this year really helped remind us and all communities that these really aren't silos. They all work together and help create that economic vitality and and growth and recovery. And we'll continue to do that and continue to have those programs and those ideas work together. So that small business support that happened across the state is going to continue. We are going to take what worked and continue to encourage that and help businesses throughout the next year as well. So communication and awareness, that was one thing that happened right away. We things like this, able to get the word out, regular communication and calls and emails, local grants. There was across the state, local communities, Mount Pleasant had a great example, Mount Vernon. There were just some really good programs that came out to help those local businesses. And I think a lot of those will continue. Gift card programs. We saw a huge influx in communities that did sharing with corporations to buy gift cards and give them out as gifts, and just a way to keep cash within that community. Facebook groups, holiday gift guides, all kinds of things that happened that can continue to translate and continue to move forward, even though the circumstances of 2020 required adaptation. There are a lot of good things that came out of it from that small business support side.
Yeah, so we saw a lot of that going on right here in Fort Dodge. I mean, this is something that, we saw, Chris, you guys were passing out, dozens and dozens of gift cards to encourage people to be shopping downtown.
We were, and also the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance did some really cool gift card pieces. The first Monday of each week during the summer, there was a certain amount of gift cards they were able to give away. So we were really trying to push as much gift card cash out there as possible, and really encourage everybody to shop local, that you're supporting your friends and your neighbors by utilizing the services we have downtown. And really almost everybody in the downtown adapted, and there was home delivery, there was curbside pickup, all sorts of different things that our retailers really pivoted, and they were really fluid the entire time.
One of the things that really makes this program possible is just the partnerships that we have across our communities. And that's something that has really, I think, shown as we have gotten into this pandemic, is we rely on one another, and that's what makes us vibrant.
Yeah, that's one piece that I think, again, partnerships. Fort Dodge is a great example of communities that work together and have a great working relationship. A lot of communities really were able to strengthen their relationship with their city, with other organizations and entities. Things that they needed to do and do quickly. Outdoor dining, there were some communities that was not allowed, and ordinances needed to be changed, or they needed to have a way to change that enforcement process, kind of similar to what you did with the parking, the drop off and pickup zones that Chris mentioned. All of those things took a relationship between the city and the organizations, the downtown groups, the Main Streets, the chambers, and really we saw a lot of that across the state. People really pulling together and trying to find ways to keep those small businesses in business.
Yeah. Well, let's take a moment and kind of shift gears just a little bit. And Chad, let's talk about some of the things that the city did, not just over the past year, but is looking forward to doing, that has been in ways to help ease the burden on our local businesses, because you guys did take a number of steps, not just the parking, but some other things as well that have really helped ease the burden on some of the businesses in tough times.
Yeah, we just, we've tried to, do some support from as much as we can from the city. And I want to, thank the city council and the mayor for their leadership through this time. And just some of the things that, we've worked on. Chris mentioned this before, was the Streetscape Project. And that's, going to be a component that's we're going to be working on for several years. And I think that's just a great example of the two groups working together. There's a lot of work to do to try to figure out what we want our downtown to be in the future, and everybody has their own ideas and thoughts and concerns and all that. But that's just one example of one of those things that we got to get a big group together. We all have to listen and learn from each other, and try to build some consensus around a big project. And then, then it's obviously comes down to money and funding and all those other things to put those improvements in place. But, that's all the planning and those partnerships is really what makes projects like that move forward.
Sure. Well, let's talk a little bit since we're talking about some of the projects you guys are working on currently, and housing seems to be kind of an important topic right now that the city's working on.
Yeah, the housing, in Fort Dodge has been pretty stagnant over the last, several decades. City Council has used housing as a strategic initiative for the last 4 or 5 years. Again, with another partnership, we're able to acquire some property kind of in the north central part of the city called Williams Bend and develop that for new housing. And so, housing there continues to be constructed. We've had, 8 houses built and sold over the last year. Those are homes that are selling as fast as they build them. There's going to be another 8 homes that are 4 of them are already started. 4 more will be started in the spring. We got several townhouses going up in that area. We also have another development out on the east side called Gypsum Creek that's got 12 townhouse units that are available for sale right now. So that's from a developer from the Sioux City area. And then probably one of the most exciting projects that is going to come online here in 2021 is a project that's called District 29. That's an apartment and townhouse project there on the south side of the Fort Dodge Middle School. And, we haven't built an apartment building probably in 2 decades in the city of Fort Dodge. And it's time. We need that type of housing for our workforce, for, many different types of people in the community. And so we're looking forward to the completion of that project late summer, early fall. There's going to be 94 apartments in there, ranging from studio apartments all the way up to 3 bedrooms. So all kinds of different living styles. And then there's also 25 townhouses as well as a part of that project. So, that's a big housing project, that's there by the Fort Dodge Middle School.
Wow. Yeah. So a lot of things going on. And one of the neat things that I think Fort Dodge has been doing is not just putting up some new housing, but there's been some old housing over the last couple of years that has come down and really helped with some beautification as well.
Right. That's another, part of that strategic plan and strategic initiatives is, how do we, make the community look better? How do we get rid of some of those dilapidated, abandoned homes? One of the areas that we focused on is just north of downtown along 8th Street between the downtown and the Corpus Christi Church area. We've purchased a good majority of homes in there. We've torn most of them down. And, right now we're working with a consultant / developer out of Des Moines to re-envision what that area could look like, and how can that area, from a housing standpoint, support what's going on in the downtown, and how can the downtown support, the new housing, the opportunities that could be in that area. So, it takes all different types of housing, all different types of locations throughout the community. And it all comes together to make our community better.
Yeah, it's really good. There's some neat things going on with that. Carol, let's talk a little bit about some of the social opportunities and social things that folks have been doing, because, with pandemic and a lot of people just spending many months staying at home, it was pretty easy to just get kind of down in the dumps if you didn't find some ways to beat that.
Yeah, it sure was. And, I just would like to tap onto what Chad said too. The fact that you have so much housing going on is just really a symbol of people's choice to live where they want to be. And Fort Dodge is obviously a place people are wanting to come to with this new housing that you have going on. And a lot of that is involved with how people feel about their community and that social engagement side. They can, people can live anywhere anymore, especially with the way we've got a lot more people working from home. And the fact that you've got all these construction projects going and this new housing and different types of opportunities for people really show how hard you have done or how hard you have worked to create that social component that make people want to be there. So congratulations and kudos on that. That's terrific. And again, kind of that ties right into the social engagement that we've seen too. Just keeping people involved through the Facebook Live events, through Facebook shopping. And I know Main Street programs have really done a lot to help businesses understand and learn that technology to allow them to do that. Doing special events. picked an example here quick just from Mount Pleasant, but they did picnics on the porch where they encouraged people to do carryouts and still try and have that social environment with their pod, but yet still be able to talk to their neighbors as well. So just examples of things where people really, programs like Main Street Fort Dodge, doing things to keep people engaged when they're in their hometowns. Drive up movies. I mean, those are back. Reverse parades. How can you celebrate what's happened in your community and still tap into those traditions? So reverse parades, we saw a huge uptick of those this year. And that's where the people run through the parade and there's stationary ports where floats would be. So kind of a fun twist on a way to keep traditions alive and carry through until we can get back to some sort of normalcy. Farmers markets found a way to continue, the scavenger hunts and the walking tours, things that people could do in smaller groups. And maybe over time, I think were important to keep that sense of community. And it also is important that the organizations that make those happen, like Main Street Fort Dodge, like your Growth Alliance, there are a lot of people that really work hard to make things happen within your communities, and that financial challenges that some of them are facing right now. As nonprofits, I think it's important to recognize that there is still a need there to continue to support them. They've been there working hard to keep your businesses going, and continuing to support those are important things to do too. And just up on the screen here, a variety of examples of how that happened across the state.
That's great. Okay, so this one intrigues me. Talk to me about awards, Carol.
Yeah, well, we talked about a lot of things that happened across the state today, and I'm putting my plug in. Chris will keep you informed, but Main Street Iowa Awards will be happening the second week of May. It's a work in progress on how that's all going to come together. But we're going to be telling some great stories of resiliency across the state and really celebrating the great things that have happened in 2020. Although we're all happy it's 2021 and looking forward, we hope and invite you to participate in that Main Street Iowa Awards ceremony and hear some more. Celebrate Fort Dodge and all the Main Street communities across the state. So 2021, here we come.
I'm looking forward to it, and as I think we all are. So as we look forward, Carol, into 2021, what are some of the things that the main streets all over Iowa? What are some of the things that people are looking to maybe do in 2021? Is it still up in the air? What's the thought process like out across the state?
It's still up in the air. I think we're moving forward as a state with Main Street Iowa as we're going to get back to that in-person visits. We have really had to scale back on our ability to get out into the communities. We're planning to be out into the communities again, and hoping that we'll be able to follow through with that, starting next month even. But across the state, it's a cautious optimism on how to move forward. I think keeping some of the things that worked and expanding on them, that the internet shopping and that Shop Iowa side really allowed businesses who maybe had been dabbling in online sales to grow that. I think people, we will continue to see that growth. The people that wanted to just dip their toe in the water and tried, through Shop Iowa, they may continue with that. They may end up being able to move to a platform on their own. But I think that's an area that we will see to continue to grow across the state.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I talk to businesses and I mean, literally every day, who say, my online sales have just exploded. For those who have finally gotten into the world of doing a little bit of online business, they say, wow, my online sales are just incredible. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to see stick around as we head into the future, pandemic or not. Aside from that, what are some of the other things that you've seen that you think just might stick around as we head into the new year?
I see a lot, the strength of the partnerships within the city government. I see that continuing and growing. Not all communities are as fortunate as you are to have that relationship already in place. But I continue to see that grow to allow some of the maybe ordinance adaptions and some of those design things. The outdoor dining will continue to stay and grow. I think continue to see some of those grant programs and recognizing the the building side of a grant program is really important, but finding ways to help the businesses themselves, those small businesses, with some funding too. Hopefully, I don't know, but hopefully we'll be able to continue with that. Open for Business is going to happen again next year. That program will be coming out January 11th. So that's one thing that we know we're going to continue with, and so some of our traditional programs will continue, but we'll be taking a look at opportunities to grow and provide support as well.
Quickly talking about some of those digital things, what would be your message to maybe a lot of businesses out there who have been, I guess, hesitant to dip into the digital world, because you do get to talk to so many businesses? What would be your message to them?
Well, my message is that's you need to meet your consumer where they're at, and that's what the consumer expects at this point. The consumer expects that opportunity. You can't be open 24/7, 7 days a week. This is an opportunity for your consumers to be able to shop 24/7, 7 days a week. And I just think it's time to make that transition. It's time to bring that element into your business. I know it can be scary to think about making that type of a change, but the businesses that do, and the businesses that make that pivot and add that, not replace, add to their opportunity for customers, I think we'll find long-term success.
Yeah, great. All right, well, Chad, let's talk a little bit, if you can, just about some of the developments that we're looking forward to in 2021, because I know that business has certainly not stopped. I see business movement and that sort of thing happening in Fort Dodge on a almost constant basis. So what are some of the development projects that you see coming up in the future?
Yeah, there's so much going on, both on the public side and the private side. Just on the public side, we've seen, new projects out at Iowa Central with their Greehey Student Center coming online, and such a great addition to that campus. We've seen investment by the Fort Dodge schools with taking an abandoned building north of the kind of the central part of our community and turning it into administrative offices. They're working on their new early childhood center there on First Avenue South. So, kind of shifting the way they do business among their elementary schools. And, so again, utilizing an existing building that they have. There's so many other things going on with Holy Trinity Parish has a new church, new place to worship. You see other private development like the DeVita Healthcare Facility out by the mall area. Other, things that the city has done with fire station remodel and addition project there to enhance what goes on at the fire department and our EMS with new sleeping rooms, shower facilities, restrooms, training facilities. Next year, they're going to be adding another addition onto that facility for administrative offices. So all of those kinds of things. There's just so much going on, and probably the biggest project that we have going on in the community from a dollar standpoint, but nobody ever sees, is we're spending $25 million on an addition to the water treatment plant. Nobody sees it. All you ever see is you turn on your faucet and it works, and it's great. But we are spending a huge amount of money to upgrade our water treatment plant and produce better water for the community. And so, again, that's something that obviously makes me really excited, but probably doesn't from a large community. But it's just something that we had to do, and we had to invest in the community to make ourselves better.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's definitely necessary, and those who are in the know really appreciate it, but is kind of invisible to the rest of the world. Yeah. On the other end of that spectrum, one of the things that is super visible is the mall project that we all see going on, and that's continued to do work. We continue to see building movement there and things continuing to be done.
Right. I mean, there's daily conversations in my office and through other offices and departments throughout the city. So the developer there is continuing to try to work through this pandemic. Obviously, it's not easy to negotiate with retailers through this pandemic. It's not something that they were looking forward to, and trying to keep their doors open, and then trying to get them to understand that we have this new opportunity in our community and why they should be in our community, why they should stay in our community if they're already here, or why they should come to our community if they're potentially new. So trying to sell, all of that is difficult. Over the last couple of months, obviously it's the holidays and some of those things negotiations kind of shut down, but we're very excited for 2021 here to look at the opportunities for that. And like you said, the developer is, we have infrastructure going in. So we got water, sewer, storm sewer already in place. We'll be, as soon as the weather breaks, we'll be paving couple new streets to open up some new lots for some new businesses. We already have Unity Point Express under construction. We already have Discount Tire under construction. I think there's a couple other ones that hopefully in the next month or so we'll be able to announce there for other projects, part of the Corridor Plaza project. So there's just so much going on. And then one of the other components that that from a city standpoint is working with the developer is there's this program with the state of Iowa through the Economic Development Authority called Reinvest Iowa. And so we're looking to put in an application to bring some of those sales tax dollars back to Fort Dodge that would normally go to the state. So we're going to compete for those state sales tax dollars and bring them back so we can enhance the Corridor Plaza project. So.
Yeah, just so much going on right now. It's neat to get sort of an update from behind the scenes on where that's all headed. Carol, Chad, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing your information. Feel free to stick with us and pipe in if there's something that you want to share with us as well. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about PPP, Kimberly, because big things going on with another round of PPP and lots of questions going on too.
Right, exactly. So just so you all know, this is very hot off the press, as you can imagine, and some of it is even as of 2:00 this morning. I woke up to an email from our SBA district office, which, kudos to them because it's been an incredible year for them to just stay on top of everything and keep feeding information that we can talk about and use and get out to the public, to the business owners who need it. From the perspective of the SBDC, we have to be careful what we say until we get official releases from the SBA and the Department of Treasury. So some of what we have here today, because I haven't been able to sift through everything that came through at 2:00 this morning, but a lot of what we have here today is unofficial. I have to say that, but it's information. It's still good information. So we will go through that. So there is help that has come through for our small businesses. The government released additional PPP funds, and I think you can go on to the next slide, actually. Yes, thank you. So yes, very good news that $284 billion is available for another round of PPP loans. So you can apply for a new PPP forgivable loan, whether or not you received one before. So this is good news for a lot of small businesses. It's news we've been waiting for quite some time, as you all know. So this can be your first or second PPP loan, and you cannot get more than two. So I do want to emphasize that if for any reason you missed out on the first round, we'll kind of go through, take action steps, get on this right away. The funds do run out, and so don't wait. So eligibility, your income, your gross receipts must have declined by 25% or more in any quarter of 2020 compared to 2019. So you do need to be eligible in that way. You must have been in business prior to February 15th, 2020. So some of the same things that we're used to seeing. Of course, you must have used or will use all of your previous PPP loan if you received one. You must have fewer than 300 employees in any one location. Qualified businesses can be corporations, LLCs, or sole proprietors, self-employed, and independent contractors. No loan can be greater than $2 million. How much can you get? Well, most businesses, as in the first round of PPP, you can get up to your average monthly payroll in 2019 times 2.5. And I'm not going to read all of that paragraph, but so that remains the same for most businesses. Keep in mind that payroll expenses include all costs for W-2 employees. That's not independent contractors that you use in your business. And you can read those what a W-2 employee and what those all include there. What has changed is accommodation and food service businesses, recognizing how hard hit these industries have been. Congress has upped the amount to 3.5 times the average in 2019 monthly payroll costs. So this is a very nice thing to see in this new package. And there's certainly the food service businesses and other accommodation, hotel, whatever. These industries, I should say, very hard hit, and it's good to see they need all the help they can get. That's for sure, as you can imagine. So forgiveness. You can get forgiveness for this PPP loan by spending at least 60% on payroll expenses and a maximum of 40% on other qualifying expenses. So this has changed a little bit, and I'll cover that in just a second. PPP set-asides for certain small businesses. So this is something new. So there are set-asides now, which because the smallest businesses and those located in low and moderate income areas were often shut out of the first round of PPP funding. This bill includes set-asides for small businesses with fewer than 10 employees. So that's, and those in low, moderate income areas, and funds for small community banks, credit unions, and community-based lenders. So what they're trying to do is, of course, level the playing field, which needed to happen. And we're all glad to see the focus narrow in, and this is very intentional legislational pieces that are focused on small businesses and are more of our micro small businesses in rural areas. So again, that's I think we all yelled loud enough that they heard us, and that does pay off. So here is some of that. So if you've already received PPP funds, there are some changes. New treatment of PPP expenses. Expenses used for PPP forgiveness are now tax deductible. So this is a big thing. My husband and I have a business. We used our PPP loan. The tax issues were real. So this is good for all of us who have PPP loans. I'm not going to read through that whole paragraph, but anyway, this legislation corrects the actions that were taken to make those expenses that were not tax deductible. Simplified form for forgiveness. We kind of had a form before, but now we've got, I think, even more a more simplified form. So if your PP loan is under $150,000 or less, there will be a new simple one-page form to apply for forgiveness. And anybody that has filled out any paperwork for the federal government would be amazed that there could be a one-page form. So this is really good news and appreciated by a lot of businesses for sure. Okay, so grants for EIDL, so economic injury disaster loan advances. So we all remember that, and other changes to the EIDL. So in the beginning, back in the day, which seems like forever ago now, kind of, when EIDL grants were passed by Congress, they allowed for the $10,000 advance to be treated as a grant and not a loan. And the SBA unilaterally scaled back the grant to be only $1,000 for each employee, counteracting the congressional intent. So this addresses that issue. I think back when SBA did that, there was concern of running out of money. And so that's kind of the, if you remember correctly, there were a lot of knee-jerk reactions, and, the federal government was just scrambling, trying to pull all this stuff together and trying to iron out mistakes that they could see, and it was truly the largest rollout of funds, of course, economic disaster funds that our government has ever done. And overall, they did a fantastic job, but with everything, there's always wrinkles. So businesses in low-income communities that received an EIDL loan can get a grant equal to the difference of what they received and $10,000. So again, that focus on our smaller businesses and smaller communities. Eligible businesses in low-income communities that did not get EIDL loans or advanced grants because funds had run out can now get $10,000. So, businesses, pay attention. There's good things here, and you really need to act on it. Also, if you previously received both an EIDL advanced grant and a PPP loan, you had to deduct the advance from your PPP forgiveness amount. You no longer have to deduct that amount from the forgiveness. So another really large thing there. Next slide. Okay, what you should do immediately. I'm not quite sure what happened to my slide here, but something did. What you should do immediately is act fast. The funds will be available, and we'll let you know when they are, that first day that things are available. But you should be prepared to apply for everything the very first day it becomes available. So figure out your income by quarters this year versus 2019. We really ran into a lot of small businesses who weren't prepared, and we're willing to help you again, but let's get started on it, right now. Contact potential lenders. Contact your community banks. Our community banks across the state of Iowa did a fantastic job with the first round of PPP lending. So I can only expect the same thing again, because that's just how we're wired here in Iowa. Thankfully, we were lucky and fortunate. So try to connect with an individual lending officer. That relationship for a small business with lenders is huge, and we've really learned that through this process. If you don't have your business banking already set up, shame on you if you haven't already done that through this point, but let's get that done. And if there's anything that we can do from the SBDC to answer questions, please let us know. So pay attention, keep a close eye out for application openings and deadlines. Again, apply day one. So don't pass up this opportunity. We don't know that there's going to be any more congressional help that will come to our small businesses. But please don't, if you need assistance, don't let this process overwhelm you. Please reach out to the SBDC. That's what we're here for. And all our services, again, are free and confidential. So, where our focus, like this legislation, is on you as small business owners. And we want to make sure that we give you all the assistance that you need. So that's kind of a really quick rundown of what's available. There's more detail. I do have PPP loan forgiveness for the self-employed frequently asked questions. If there's any informational pieces that you would like to have, chances are I've got them here in my office printed off, making files on my computer so that I can get things sent out to people as they call me or whatever. So please, with anything that's running through your mind, what if, or what about this, or any kind of questions that you have, reach out and we'll do our best. If we don't know the answers, we will send an email to our SBA district office, and we'll get an answer for you. So a lot of changes, a lot of good things. And I think the message overall is get ready and be ready and take action steps today so that you can get those applications in as soon as the money's available.
I talked to so many businesses, Kimberly, last go around that just missed their opportunity, whether it be for EIDL or PPP. A lot of EIDL folks who missed their opportunity, and now is definitely the time. Just don't wait, because it will be a very similar situation where once that becomes available, it will be a very short time period before that money is gone once again.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, and this is not on the slides, but there is, and forgive me for thumbing through pages, but I've got a lot of highlighted things, but there is there are grants for cultural arts and live events, theaters. So let's talk about theaters. They really need to pay attention because there's going to be a very short window, but a very good opportunity for museums, theaters, different types of things for the harder hit businesses like that, or nonprofits. So again, I can't speak to all this off the top of my head because it's so fresh, but it's here. There are a lot of things that weren't included before. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in business or you have an organization, at least check into it right away so you're prepared.
Very good. Well, that's going to pretty much wrap up this week. I just want to make sure I check in with Chris to make sure that there wasn't something coming up with Main Street Fort Dodge that we need to let folks know about, because if there's anything coming up in the next few weeks, we want to make sure that we get that message out.
No, our next event is going to be February 13th. That's our Sister Saturday retail event in the downtown. Our downtown revitalization project with all the facades is continuing. So just keep your eyes open when you come downtown, and please keep shopping local. But thanks for the opportunity. I wish we had more to talk about.
Well, it's been a very, very busy holiday season. So maybe you can catch your breath for just half a minute before we get back into things once again. So next week, we've got another great show lined up. We've got Matt Cosgrove showing up from Webster County Conservation, and we'll be talking about some of the things that we can look forward to and all the facilities that have been in high use over the last year now. So we'll get an update on all of those things coming up as well. But Carol and Chad, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing what's going on with business development, not only in Fort Dodge, but across the state.
Thank you.
We'll thank once again our sponsors who make this happen every single week. We've got Kimberly Tiefenthaler with America's SBDC here in Iowa, Chris Patrick with Main Street Fort Dodge, and Cheryl O'Hearn had to step out. She had a meeting she had to get to, but she's always doing a great job of helping us put this show together and helping folks with getting their marketing in order as well. So big thanks to Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Market Plus Digital. And of course, I'm Jed Burns, market manager of Alpha Media here in Fort Dodge, helping to put this together each week as well. We'll see you next week right here, Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page and the Alpha Media YouTube channel. And if you've enjoyed the show or know someone who might enjoy the show, be sure to like it and share on your social media channels as well. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.